Oh boy. Hello everyone, it is Lucy, and boy do I have a story to tell you. As you can see by the title, I figured out the cause behind my newfound allergies that plagued me for about 9 months. Swelling, rashes, itching, all that jazz. It was my skincare. Now that I believe my mystery affliction is mostly behind me, hopefully, I figured it would be fun to kind of share the story behind it, because after all, what is the point of a self-induced allergy if you can't make self-deprecating jokes on the internet about it? I also want to say I am going to be mentioning a couple of specific products that I've realized that I have this reaction to, but I don't mean to say that because I think that those products are like in any way dangerous or unsafe or anything like that. It's literally just like any other allergy that you can think of. I do not have a peanut allergy. You might have a peanut allergy. I can eat peanut butter. If you have a peanut allergy, maybe don't eat peanut butter. But that doesn't mean that peanut butter is a net bad on the world. I would say it's pretty good. Get a snack, get a beverage, strap yourself in for a journey through my stupidity.
What was that?
So this all began around this time last year. I started to notice that I had like a little bit of an itch, a little bit of a rash above my eye. And I noticed this itch and it was just getting worse and worse, and it was starting to affect my concentration at work. And it was like right here, like just kind of above my eye crease under my eyebrow. And initially I thought it's the new mascara I've just started using like a couple weeks ago. It's probably irritating around my eye area. I just need to not wear that mascara, which I am going to back myself a couple of times throughout this process, because I think for the most part, I am a logical woman of science, and I would say using context clues and that this was something new that I'd never experienced before, I'm obviously going to target the newly introduced product around my eye area. I think we all agree that makes sense. So I stopped using that mascara. I was really careful around my eye area. I used very gentle kind of products, gentle fragrance-free cleansers. I gave it a little bit of extra TLC with like an unscented, you know, light serum-y eye cream from La Roche-Posay, which that actually slaps, by the way. I'll link it because I think it's really good. It's a nice little lightweight eye serum that I think most people would, you know, get along with. But I'm giving it extra love and care, and just to be cautious, I'm also, you know, pulling back on my skincare routine, which tends to have new things in it from time to time. I pare it back, I make it nice and simple, and I take a break from actives, so, you know, acids, vitamin C, retinoids, all that jazz. Take a break from all of that, just on the safe side, trying to fix it. Then for like the next few weeks, it was kind of essentially a cycle of me like coaxing it, babying the area to kind of get it back to normal. I thought it was fixed, I thought it was normal, and then it would kind of come back. So it was sort of like coming and going, but it was still like pretty chill, just kind of like an irritation around my eye. And so I continued to, you know, make sure I was putting eye cream on my eye, which did seem to help a lot, kind of keeping it nourished, keeping it calm. But I also started taking antihistamines from time to time, just like your regular schmegular, you know, pharmacy antihistamines, because my mum also said that seasonal allergies definitely affected her eyes. And I had a couple of other friends who said that was the case for them too. Now, normally when I have any kind of little, you know, irritations or inflammation in my skin, for the most part, I know kind of what to do and I know how to fix it. So I thought this would be a very similar case. You know, about a month went by of me trying a few different things and it was still not really working. So I decided to overcome my skincare god complex and call a GP. My regular slay girl boss GP was unfortunately not available. She was booked and busy. So I decided I would go and see a GP who was available and local to me.
Who is this woman?
At all points during this process, while yes, I was trying to remain calm and not let like, you know, the Google results for some like rare disease that I could potentially have freak me out, I was being very proactive in searching for different symptoms, looking at pictures, ingredients in products I was using, potential irritants. But for the most part, at this point, it was still very much resembling some type of rash. And I suspected it was some type of like contact dermatitis. That's what symptoms most resonated with me. It didn't feel like quite right. Like I couldn't find examples of the exact kind of pattern under and over my eyes, but I was pretty confident that that was it. And so I actually at one point got a bunch of my different products ingredient lists and put it in this like kind of comparison table that showed me what commonalities there were between the products, including that mascara that I stopped using because I was suspecting that maybe something in that mascara had triggered the rash and then like something else was perpetuating it. I don't think that was necessarily a bad theory. So I told my GP my suspicions, but from everything I told her and showed her and talked to her about, she thought it was contact dermatitis. And she was basically like, once you clear this up, like once we get over it, it probably won't come back since you're saying you've never had this before. So let's just clear it up and we'll see how we go. She also told me to keep taking antihistamines if I felt like it helped. But basically she gave me this non-steroid kind of cream and she told me to just, you know, continue doing what I was doing, but now with the cream. So then I started using the cream and it sort of seemed to help, but sort of didn't. Like I couldn't really tell if it was helping or not, but gradually over a period of a couple of weeks, maybe a month, my allergies kind of flared up less and less. It was less and less severe every time. And gradually it miraculously stopped. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, cheers to the death of my mysterious allergy.
When all of a sudden I hear this agitating, grating voice.
Now, I don't exactly remember how or when exactly this happened in the time of year, but a couple of months into 2022, all of a sudden, the little red rash above my eye was back. Same as before, I leapt back into my previous methods of self-defense. I still had some of the cream left over from the GP, and I immediately went into defensive mode. Protect eyes, no swelling, please. My previous tactics were not working as well this time. But now I was taking multiple antihistamines, again, just within the safe limit on the package. This is not medical advice. But I was taking multiple antihistamines just to kind of like keep it under control, because if I just took one, it would still be really painful and flare up and be like, honestly, like kind of distressing, because I was still not totally sure exactly what the cause was, and it felt very random. I didn't always feel like I knew what to do to make it hurt less, because whereas before it was kind of like a rash, now it was like swelling, and it kind of felt like it was evolving into something different. And at this point I was like, I don't think this is contact dermatitis, but I also don't think this is seasonal allergies. But like, I don't know because they're not things I've had experience with before. And the not knowing part is like kind of the more distressing part. I was doing my best to try and get information about what was going on, and I was trying to test lots of different scenarios to try and see if I could figure out like the cause. So I had days where I was, you know, wearing makeup, but not wearing makeup, going outside, staying inside with the door shut to like not let any of the nature in. Nail extensions or gel polish, not wearing those. A very janky science experiment. But even then, it's pretty hard to, you know, keep the constants constant when it comes to like life. But you know, I was making notes every single time that I had any type of flare up, and it was still hard to tell. However, I did start to notice a pattern. It was happening on the days where I went outside, but I also had days where I went outside and it didn't happen. So again, I put it down to seasonal allergies, that perhaps on the days where, you know, I had these flare-ups, it was where I came into contact with certain random pollens or seeds or grasses or whatever, and the days where I didn't have flare-ups where I just like didn't do that. I don't know. Now, you've seen the title, so you know where this is going, but I just want to say that I absolutely did look into skincare as a component of these variables. So all of the products that I used, I did look into, but keep in mind, it was mainly around my eye area at this point, and that GP had been like, it's around your eye area, and that either means something around your eyes is irritating your eyes, or it's like seasonal allergies, because that is, you know, in your sinus, which is connected to your eyes. And while things like vitamin C's and acids and stuff like that are irritating to people, the symptoms that these people were talking about were not at all similar to what I was having. A point where this had been ongoing for multiple months. I'd used different skincare products, and that changing didn't seem to make any difference to my situation. Also, you know, I was putting my skincare on in the morning, and it was usually not until the afternoon or the evening that I would have this kind of irritation flare up, which again lined up with my theory that it's something that happens when I go outdoors. I'm getting it as the after effects of being outside in nature. That was my running number one theory. Now, at this point, some of you may remember the little vlog I did where I did my little glow up with me for Fashion Week. So I went to Sydney for Fashion Week. And in that vlog, I was actually having flare-ups in the days before. And it was, you know, annoying because again, this kind of thing would come and go. It felt really inconsistent. So I was kind of like, really? Like I'd sort of gotten a little bit of a hold on it and it just flared up right before Fashion Week and I was stressed. But when I went down to Sydney, it basically went away. And for the entire week that I was there, it was like completely fine. And it further strengthened my theory that there was something around where I live, you know, in my daily commute, in my vicinity that I was allergic to. But that was the theory that made the most sense. Now, obviously some of you have the hint with the title of what my actual allergies are, but I would love for some of you to like put your theory of like specifically what it was in the comments, because I feel like for me at least, this is like a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Agatha Christie level allergy skin mystery, because it took me the amount of time it did to figure it out. Regardless, I came back to Brisbane after Sydney Fashion Week feeling like maybe the allergies are gone again, or maybe I like have a handle on this, and then I got my allergies again. They came back again. This time it was again some swelling. It was the real Quasimodo, I am the bell ringer of the Notre Dame energy, and I kind of was like, okay, I think this has gone on long enough. I very much enjoyed my week off from having any of it and feeling well and not afflicted by this mysterious illness. I'm gonna go book in to see my regular girl boss GP.
I've had enough of playing games.
I told her the history of my malady. I told her, you know, all the different theories. I told her what the original GP said. I told her what I'd tried. I told her what I'd looked into. I asked her about skincare. I mentioned seasonal allergies. I asked her all these kinds of questions, but I also now had a stunning picture of me in Quasimodo mode, which I felt was a really great illustrative example. So I showed her the pictures and she was kind of like, wow, yeah, that is very swollen. But I was also telling her antihistamines seem to really help. Like I could take multiple antihistamines and that would make it go away. And at this point, by the way, I was basically taking antihistamines almost every day, pretty much any day where I left the house. And she kind of agreed that it did seem like, especially from the swelling, some type of allergy that's like getting into your respiratory system and giving you a hard time. She provided me a form to get my bloods done so I could find out, you know, which flora I was allergic to. But she was also basically like, you can get it done so you know like what grasses and trees, etc., that you are allergic to. But honestly, like no rush, because the outcome is that you will just have to take antihistamines, which is like what you already do. So at this point, I go on a little trip. I went with my family and boyfriend to North Queensland. I did actually film and vlog a little bit. But while I was there, I had one of the more severe flare-ups that I've had at any point throughout this period, and it was really bad. It's like, again, this thing kind of was like coming and going, and so now all of a sudden it was like back in full force, and I was like, can you not? And I was once again convinced that it was nature punishing me, attacking me, because we were in North Queensland and we, you know, rented a car and we were driving around in the beautiful tropical luscious rainforest with, you know, the windows down, and I was like, I'm allergic to plant. What's that movie where like, whew, what's that movie with Mark Wahlberg where the trees are attacking?
The Happening.
The Happening. It was like The Happening. I thought it was The Happening. And you know, I'm also taking antihistamines, I'm taking ibuprofen. Like this swelling and irritation is pretty intense, because while I knew and had been told, you know, it's a seasonal allergy, I just felt like it was a little bit more severe, a little bit more random and unpredictable, because there were times where I could go out and walk through a park and, you know, not take antihistamines or anything like that, and I wouldn't have any problems. I still have this little bit of doubt in the back of my mind. Like, I'm just like, why is it like so severe sometimes and so random other times? And keep all of this in mind, this is baby's first allergy experience. I'd like not had something like this before, so I was trying to like understand, you know what I mean? Like the inconsistency.
I was blind. I was so blind.
So I'm on this family holiday with my mum, and I was like running her through these different like theories I had, where I was like, look, I know it's trees, allegedly. Also by this point I had not gotten my bloods done, and I also was considering getting like an allergy panel and all of that stuff done as well, but it's pretty expensive. So while I pretty much knew and logically had been told, I'm just a curious cat, aren't I? I just wanted to know. So I was running all these theories past my mum, and like, my mum is a queen, shout out to mum, but she was kind of helping me try and problem solve as well. And she was like, is it any of your skincare products that you're using? And I was like, no, it's not my skincare products. I've tried like multiple different combinations of skincare, you know, swapping in and out different products, and it doesn't seem to make any difference. Like, it still just seems to just happen when it happens. Now, on this trip, I'd taken like little minis of skincare, as you do when you go on a trip, and I wasn't using as many products as I would normally. I'm on holiday, okay? Just need a few little products to get by. And on the day that I'd started kind of swelling up, I had used the Laneige Radiant C moisturizer, little orange one, very cute. And I had not had a full size one. I bought the little travel mini to take on a trip so I could see it if I wanted to buy a full size. Lovely formula, very creamy and delicious. However, if you don't know about vitamin C is an active skincare product, and it can be irritating if you are already irritated, right? So if you're already experiencing some irritation, vitamin C is not going to necessarily help, and it might make it worse. Same as some products like lactic acid or retinoids or glycolic acid, like whatever. If your skin is sensitive and irritated, you want to steer clear of those actives for the most part. And so I mentioned to my mum, oh, you know, I've been using this new vitamin C moisturizer. I don't think it's what's causing it, but I do think that it might not be helping, because, you know, if I'm already kind of red and rashy and irritated, that might just prolong the issue. So she was like, you should definitely stop using that. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't feel like my skincare, like what I use when I have those flare-ups, has made much of a difference in my experience in the last few months. I'm not saying I was using like a full strength retinol the same day I had a flare-up. Like, obviously I was not doing that. But you know what I mean? Like, once like the peak had come down and like the swelling had gone down, but maybe a little bit of irritation was like there on the eye, like I would still use it like on my jaw. And I think that's like, because it's not, yeah, you get it. So my mum thought that maybe the vitamin C was causing the flare up like entirely. But I was like, well, no, I put it on in the morning and it is now the afternoon. And from what we know about, you know, sensitivities and irritation, and even what I've experienced in working like in a store where we're putting skincare and makeup on people essentially get the itching and the burning sensation like within like a few minutes. Like, it's usually almost immediate. So I was like, but then why wouldn't I have this irritation in the morning with the vitamin C? I still think it's, you know, what I'm bringing into my lungs. I'll stop using it because I don't want to irritate my skin any further, but I don't think it's the cause. Luckily, I had with me a very like simple other little like plain gel moisturizer as well. So for the next few days, I continued to use that. Then my boyfriend and I went to Cairns, which is more of like a cityscape. And my flare-up continued to reduce and heal until I was basically almost back to normal. And so while I was in Cairns and continuing not to have any flare-ups or irritation, again, I'm not around as much like plant matter. I'm like, big brain Lucy, you figured it out. It is nature is out to get you. And you are safe here in the semi-metropolitan. I realize this is silly, okay, because there are still trees in Cairns, but I was just like, there's just less trees. Maybe the like random shrub that is causing me all this agony is like not here. Like, I realize at this point it's like not making a lot of sense, but you're just trying to tell yourself things so that you don't feel like totally out of your mind. So I'm like, you know, trying to like reassure myself, like, yeah, no, you were right. Your doctor was right. You need to get your bloods done when you get back to Brisbane, because it's that random grass. So then on the last day, we're packing up to fly out. We're putting everything away, and I run out of that moisturizer. So I decide I'm going to use the Laneige one again because my flare-ups have gone down, so it's not going to perpetuate further irritation on any existing irritation, because the existing irritation is no longer present. So we are fine. Nothing bad is gonna happen. So we're on the plane in the afternoon for our flight back home, and I feel my eye under the mask. I'm feeling the beginnings of this like swelling, this rash. And I kind of like turn to Max, my boyfriend, and I'm like, is it is it swollen? And he was like, I mean, look, to be honest, yeah, I thought it was kind of swollen, but I didn't like want to say. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having the reaction again. And I'd been fine all through Cairns, and we'd literally just taken like an Uber to the airport. We hadn't been, you know, we didn't spend like a 2-hour period of time like frolicking through the tropical rainforest. So I'm like, well, how did I go out every day while I was in Cairns? And we went to the same places today, and I had no allergies all this time. There's no trees or anything in the airport, and I'm having this experience again. And I was like, it's not consistent with my theory. So I'm on the plane and I pop a few of my little antihistabesties and like pray the swell away. That night when I get home, I'm like, okay, holiday is over. Enough is enough. Let's explore. Let's do some more Googling, which I'd already been doing throughout the trip multiple times. And my family and my boyfriend were like, please stop Googling your symptoms. It's a bad idea. And I was like, I know, but like, I need to know what's going on. So I've already researched at this point vitamin C allergy, allergies to vitamin C, and the kind of pictures and the anecdotes that people were saying when they said, you know, I have a vitamin C allergy were not consistent to what I was experiencing. But when I looked at the kind of reviews and stuff, and I searched for, you know, allergic reaction, Laneige Radiant C moisturizer, I did find one person being like, I had an allergic reaction. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is it. But then what they described was, again, very different to what I had. But it was enough to spur me to research a little bit further. So I looked at the ingredients for this moisturizer, because in skincare formulation, there's actually lots of different types of vitamin C that are all kind of formulated a little bit differently and have sort of different ways that they work and different levels of effectiveness in different types of formulas. You know, it's like how there's like 8 different kinds of sugar. You know, there's like caster sugar, brown sugar, raw sugar, like it's all sugar, but it's different sugar, so it works in different ways. So I Google allergic reaction 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid. When I tell you that multiple different scientific journal articles popped up with essentially like, you know, scientific analysis of a few different people's reactions to different types of skincare products, including this specific kind of vitamin C that included a woman who had swelling under the eyes like mine. Because when I looked up before, you know, allergic skincare XYZ, allergic vitamin C, like nothing like this had popped up. But for 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid, there were, you know, several different articles of people describing, specifically in topical skincare uses, how they were having these contact dermatitis-like symptoms with redness, swelling, rashes, a bunch of different things. But a bunch of different things that actually resonated with me. Oh. So then, I thought back to how this all went down, like what had happened over the last 9 months and what was my relationship to 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid. What vitamin C serums had I actually been using over the last 9 months? I kid you not, when basically all of the ones that I specifically had been using, bar maybe 1 or 2, were 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid as their primary active ingredient. So it was the Summer Fridays CC Mini Serum, which I love so much, and the Holy Frog vitamin C serum. These are incredible products, and there is actually a reason why they use 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid. It is a newer form of vitamin C, and it is very effective. People see results. So again, I do want to restate, I still love both these brands, and I still actually think both these products are great and would recommend them to people. There are so many people who have amazing experience with these products, including me. I have used full bottles of the Summer Friday CC Mini Serum before and had no issue. It is just my sensitivity to this specific ingredient that has only recently formed. I have used this ingredient in formulas before and had no issue. But I was also thinking like, well, how did I not catch on to vitamin C? I don't use it every single day. I also realized why I had thought that it was only days where I went out. I always lined up my vitamin C on days where I was going to be going out and getting sun exposure, because vitamin C works nicely with your sunscreen to give your sunscreen like a little bit of that extra antioxidant protection. That is why I thought that I was getting allergies when I went outside, because I wouldn't put my vitamin C on days that I was at home most of the time. And that period for a couple of months where I just seemed to, you know, be magically cured of my ailment, that was because I used a vitamin C serum, which is a vitamin C derivative serum. And I was using that for like 2 to 3 months. So that's why I didn't have any allergies then, because I wasn't using any 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid. And that week where I went down to Sydney for Fashion Week, didn't take a travel vitamin C product with me. I just didn't use vitamin C that week. And so this is like the interesting scientific part, which I'm still not totally sure on, because, you know, this is a skincare product. It's topical, right? So like, why am I getting it underneath? Why is it appearing to GPs as if something has entered my system that is making me swell? Vitamin C has this really funky thing called the reservoir effect, and it goes deep down into your skin and stays stored in your skin. So it takes about 2 days or so for that reservoir of vitamin C to be like depleted in your skin and be like fully out of your system. And because it's going so deep down and I'm, you know, developing a sensitivity or an allergy to it, that's why it looks like I'm having an allergy from like the inside, because it is kind of almost on the inside. It's one of the very few topical products that you could possibly apply that does go in. So when I realized this, I obviously immediately stopped using my vitamin C serum. I felt so silly. The fact that I was so adamantly like, no, it's not anything topical. You know, I do feel silly about that. But again, I had doctors tell me, and I actually did ask, like, do you think it's vitamin C? And they were like, nah. Like, I can't wait to see my girl boss GP and tell her that I actually don't have allergies and I'm just stupid, because that will make for a very fun conversation. And because I was using like multiple different kinds of products with different kinds of vitamin C, probably in smaller doses too, during that entire period, including the time where I didn't have the irritation, my brain was like, no, you're not allergic to vitamin C because you've been using that, and it's like nothing's happened, so it can't be that. Yes, can. While I have yet to really test the theory of, you know, is it 3- ethyl ascorbic acid or is it all types of vitamin C, I have since stopped using vitamin C, and I have not had a single rash, flare up, swelling, nothing. Again, I really want to reiterate that I don't want to scare you all. I did kind of consider about like not mentioning the particular ingredient, but it is like relevant to how it happened. But I don't want you to be afraid of science and ingredients and things like that. Obviously, these products are tested on lots of people, and again, lots of people, including myself, have had no issue with them. And sometimes, you know, my doctor said sometimes you can just develop an allergy or a sensitivity to something that you've never ever had a sensitivity or allergy to before. It can just happen like that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that thing is like a bad thing or something you need to be afraid of. 3-0 ethyl ascorbic acid is actually a really great new form of vitamin C. It's really stable and works really well. It's really effective. It's effective for me in different special ways, but for you, you can just get the normal good benefits, I'm sure. I have been using this really great like kind of tonery lotion product from Hada Labo, which has a little bit of a different type of vitamin C in it, but it's not like the main ingredient in it, and I haven't had any problems. So I do want to test my theory and dip my toes into some other types of vitamin C, but I'm not really in a hurry to do that either, because I'm kind of enjoying not having swollen face. Point being, that's it. That's the end. That's my story. I am a big dummy, but I am very relieved to have it all figured out, it seems. But I also was really lucky in my case that it was just a temporary thing. Obviously, I was ready to accept the reality that it was going to be something that I was just going to have to deal with for like the ongoing future. And I know for a lot of people, including some of my friends and family and loved ones, that is the case, and that really sucks. So shout out to my antihista sisters. You are very cool and not dumb like me. As you can see, it's a little bit dark now. The dusk is falling just as the sun is setting on my self-afflicted allergy that I gave myself. I would love to know if you have done anything similar. I would love to know about if anyone else has done anything kind of as semi-long-term and as silly as me. Just know that this is a safe space because I made myself Quasimodo voluntarily. I'll be back with more fashion, skincare, lifestyle content as per usual in the coming weeks. Although, you know what? If you didn't want to take skincare advice from me now, don't blame you. I will say my skin was looking good when it wasn't inflamed and swollen. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!